and 6, it's Miss Dyer here with your next video in your learning journey sequence. Before I go any further, I just wanted to congratulate everybody who shared the start of their letter with Mrs. PA and myself yesterday. I was really impressed with the personal touches that you'd included in your letter and the time and consideration that you'd put into who you were going to write to and why. I was particularly impressed with those people who had a go at using semicolons or a colon or a dash in their writing. I thought that took real guts and perseverance and determination just to have a go at that, even if you weren't sure. So well done to those people. And I can't wait to see what you write today. So as you know, this is a 2-week long learning journey that we started on Monday the 22nd of February. This is video 5 in the sequence for Tuesday the 2nd of March. Let's start with a recap then. Our learning journey question is, how can I spread hope in my community? And last week we really thought long and hard about how to spread hope. And we did some research into different people who have spread hope, including the Prime Minister, the Queen and Sir Captain Tom Moore. We then thought really carefully about community and who we consider to be a part of our community. We then agreed on our outcome. So by the end of the week we are going to have written a letter including a piece of artwork which will be sent to somebody in our community to bring them hope and lift their spirits. We're going to use this week, so the week beginning Monday the 1st of March, to draft, edit and write our letter. You're going to bring your letter to school on Monday the 8th of March so that Mrs. PA and I can help you post it to the right person. Your gateway for this half term is expression. And a good way to think of it, expression, is how I'm presenting or showing myself to other people. And writing a letter is a great chance to express yourself to an unknown audience confidently and articulately, particularly if you're writing to somebody you don't know very well. Writing a letter is also a good chance to make a really good positive impression. So how are you going to make sure that your letter makes a positive impression to the reader? Will you join your handwriting? Check your spelling carefully? Make sure that it's engaging and exciting to read. Okay, so yesterday you began by writing your letter, and that is going to be our focus today. We're going to be focusing on the next 2 paragraphs. Before we get started, you have an optional punctuation activity. Now this is optional because it's not essential to today's learning, but it is really useful learning and revision for you to be doing at home. So your optional activity is to learn how to use brackets for parenthesis, or to remind yourself how to use brackets for parenthesis. If you follow this link, which I've also put in your portfolio, it will take you to the BBC Bite-Size website. It looks like this. You'll see that there's a video where you'll learn how to use brackets and dashes. And then you'll see that there are also some activities at the bottom. If you'd like to do the optional activity, I suggest you pause the video and do that first. Alternatively, you could do it at the end and then go back and edit your writing to include the things that you've learnt. Okay, so if you're staying with me, then the first thing you'll need to do is turn to a clean double page, and you will need a double page today. Now on the right hand side, on the left hand side, year 5 and 6, that's the left hand side, you're going to write the title, paragraph 2 of my letter. Now some of you might only be writing 1 paragraph. If you're not sure, look back in your planning and see what you decided to do. So some of you, the title will be paragraph 2 of my letter and the date. And for some of you, your title will be paragraph 2 and 3 of my letter and the date. Don't forget to use your red pen or a coloured pen or pencil that you have at home and a ruler to underline your date and title. Okay, pause the video now then please, Year 5 and 6, and do your date and title. Okay, so before we go any further, we're going to have a look at the model text, the example letter, because I can magpie ideas from this example letter to use in my own writing. Let's begin by reading a paragraph together. I'm not going to read both paragraphs to you because I think you're old enough now to pause the video and have a look yourself, but we are going to read paragraph 1 together. Hope. That's the feeling that flooded my heart when I heard the Prime Minister's broadcast last night, Monday the 22nd of February 2021. How did you feel? As soon as I heard that schools would be reopening and that we'd be able to see family and friends again, it felt like there was a light at the end of the tunnel. Recently, the days have become much lighter and warmer, a sign that spring is on the way. Sir Captain Tom Moore often spoke of brighter days to come, and I think he was right, because light brings hope with it. There is a ray of light at the end of my tunnel, radiating hope. I hope you can see and feel it too, Melissa. Okay, and the next paragraph goes on to talk about the favourite spot in Totnes and the artwork that's included with the letter. Now, I do recommend Year 5 and 6 that you pause the video now and have a read of that second paragraph. Well done to everybody who's read both paragraphs now. We're going to be thinking about next what makes these paragraphs successful. Okay, have you noticed a writing technique that works particularly well? Have you noticed a word or a phrase that this author's used that brings hope to the reader? Pause the video now and have another look to see what writing techniques you can spot that you could magpie in your own writing. Off you go, Year 5 and 6. Okay, welcome back then. Hopefully you've been thinking about what makes this writing successful. Perhaps you spotted a writing technique that really works well. Perhaps you spotted a word or a phrase that brings hope to the reader. Now, I spotted a few things. This isn't everything, but it's just a few things that I spotted. You've probably spotted more than me, and you may have spotted different things, and that's okay. Now, just like yesterday, I noticed that this is written in the first person. That means the author is still using I. I is the first person, and they're using my and we. Okay. When you come to write your letter, it will need to be in the first person. I've also noticed that this author is using formal vocabulary, so that's really grown up words that they've selected carefully, but they've also managed to keep the letter quite personal by using personal stories and personal memories, and by asking questions to the reader. I also noticed that they've used brackets. These brackets contain additional information for the reader. If you've watched BBC Bite Size, you'll have a great idea of how to use brackets in your own writing. I also noticed that the author used dashes for their personal comments or their rhetorical questions. Something else I noticed was rhetorical questions and fronted adverbials. Just like yesterday, this author's tried to vary the start of their sentences. So you can see here we've got recently. Recently is a fronted adverbial of time. I've also noticed this fronted adverbial down here, remarkably. And in this letter, I'm sure you can spot some others, Year 5 and 6. Okay, now I'm sure you've spotted other things that have made this writing successful. Those are just a few of the things that I've spotted. I'm sure you can spot coordinating conjunctions, subordinate clauses, and many more things. Now, if I turn back to my planning, because I'm going to start thinking now about writing my next paragraph or my next 2 paragraphs. And in my planning, I can see that the focus of these paragraphs was to begin our topic or our conversation about hope. And I planned to talk about sunshine, spring and summer and flowers. I planned to talk about Sir Captain Tom Moore, the garden, community and light. I also planned to talk about my artwork, in particular the river, and perhaps a funny story. It's time now, Year 5 and 6, to look back at your planning and remind yourself of what you are going to write about in paragraph 1 and 2. Off you go then. Well done for looking back in your paragraphs. So now you should have an idea of what you're going to write about and also begin to think about how you're going to write about it. Some of the writing techniques that you can use in your writing. So underneath where you've written your title and your date, you're now going to begin by writing your second and let's start with your second paragraph first of all. Okay, it might be useful to read the introduction paragraph that you wrote yesterday. That might help you get into the swing of things. Okay, don't forget to use your planning to help you, and don't forget that you can magpie ideas from the model text and the success criteria. Okay, so pause the video now then please, Year 5 and 6, and have a go at writing the next paragraph of your letter. And when you're ready, come back and I'll explain the next steps to you. Okay, off you go then please. Welcome back, Year 5 and 6. Hopefully you've made a start on your next paragraph using your planning, the model text and the success criteria to help you. Now I've had a little go. It's not a perfect paragraph, but it is a start. And I'm sure you've written a paragraph which is much better than mine. Now I'm just going to have a read through my paragraph. I've noticed that spring is in the air in the last few weeks. Daffodils are beginning to bloom and the days are brighter and warmer. Have you got a favourite flower? I really like daffodils because they remind me of the sunshine and that summer is on the way. It seems like everyone's spirits have been lifted by the lighter days. I'm beginning to think that spring and summer will be the seasons of hope this year after the Prime Minister's speech, in which he presented a there's something to think about there in a moment, a roadmap out of lockdown. Because he said that these seasons will be much better for us all. Hope is a bit like having a wish. My wish is to be back at school with my friends as well as to see my family. What are you hoping for? So you'll see in my paragraph that I've tried to use questioning. I've had a go at using a dash and I've tried to use brackets. Now before I go any further, I need to use cups to help me edit my paragraph. So the first letter of cups stands for, that's right, capital letters. So as I go through now, I'm only going to focus on capital letters. So here I've missed one from the start of my sentence. I'm going to go through, just double checking, looking for any proper nouns. Full stop, capital letter, so that's correct. Again, full stop, capital letter, brilliant. Skimming my way through. Full stop, capital letter. Prime Minister's speech has got a capital letter. There we go, that's his title, so those need a capital letter. Full stop, capital letter. I think I'm good to go with capital letters. So I've checked my capital letters. Now I'm going to check that it can be understood by my reader. So I spotted a little bit earlier that didn't quite make sense, but I'll have another look through. I've noticed that spring is in the air in the last few weeks. Daffodils are beginning to bloom and the days are brighter and warmer. Have you got a favourite flower? I really like daffodils because they remind me of the sunshine and that summer is on the way. It seems like everyone's spirits have been lifted by the lighter days. I'm beginning to think that spring and summer will be the seasons of hope this year after the Prime Minister's speech in which he presented, I'm going to change that to he presented a roadmap out of lockdown because he said that these seasons will be much better for us all. Hope is a bit like having a wish. My wish is to be back at school with my friends as well as to see my family. What are you hoping for? Okay, so I'm happy it makes sense. Now I've got to check punctuation. So again, I've spotted here that I've used a contraction. That should be I apostrophe VE. Let me just scan through, double checking. Okay, question mark. The apostrophe's correct. That's right. I think it's spring and summer will be seasons of hope this year. That's right. Punctuation here is correct because there's a lowercase inside. I can't spot anything else at the moment. So I think my punctuation is correct. The next thing I need to do is very carefully look at all the spellings. So again, I'm going to go through. Daffodils are beginning, yep, that's spelled correctly. Brighter, yes, warmer. Favourite flower, I really like daffodils because they remind me of the sunshine and summer is on the way. It seems like everyone's spirits have been lifted by a lighter day. Oh, here, that should be two N's, so I'm going to edit that now. To think that spring and summer will be seasons of hope this year after the Prime Minister's speech. I'm actually going to give that apostrophe, in which presented a roadmap out of lockdown because the seasons will be much better for us all. Okay, I think my spelling is all correct. The last thing I need to think about is vocabulary. Now, I've noticed that lots of my sentences start with I or I'm. So I'm also going to see if there's a way that I could change that. And I wonder if this first sentence could start with in the last few weeks. So I'm going to move that to the start here, which means that would have to be a capital letter. In the last few weeks, I've noticed that spring is in the air. Yes, that varies it a little bit. Okay, so in the last few weeks, I've noticed that spring is in the air, daffodils are beginning to bloom, and the days are brighter and warmer. Have you got a favourite flower? I really like daffodils because they remind me of the sunshine and that summer is on the way. Okay, let's see if there's anything else I can edit. Now this sentence here, it starts with I'm again, so I'm going to move after the Prime Minister's speech in which he presented a roadmap out of lockdown. I'm going to move that whole part to the start here. So after the Prime Minister's speech in which he presented a roadmap out of lockdown, comma, I'm beginning to think that spring and summer will be the seasons of hope this year because he said that these seasons will be much better for us all. Okay, that's brilliant. Now that sentence doesn't start with I'm. Okay, so I'm going to pause there, year 5 and 6, because you don't need to watch me edit everything. I think you're getting the idea now of how to use cups to help you edit that first paragraph. And don't forget to use your planning to help you and to use the success criteria. And of course, you can magpie any words or phrases that you like from the examples here. So it's your turn now to go and edit your next paragraph. When you've done that, please come back to the video and we can have a look at the example for paragraph 3. Okay, good luck everybody. Right, welcome back then. So if you have written your first paragraph and you've used cups to edit and you're ready now to start thinking about the next paragraph. Now this was an optional paragraph, so some of you may be thinking I'm not going to do this, and that's fine, but most people will be writing this second paragraph. Now, in my planning, I decided that the second paragraph I was going to write about my artwork, in particular the river, and perhaps include a funny story. So if you have a look at your planning now, Year 5 and 6, what did you plan to write about in your letter? If you turn back now, have a little look, just remind yourself. And then when you are ready, it is time to write your next paragraph. Now, please write that next paragraph underneath wherever you finished today. Okay, if that means you've got to go on to the next page, that's absolutely fine, but just keep all your writing from today together, please. Okay, and good luck. So when you finish that, you can come back to the video. So welcome back, Year 5 and 6. Hopefully then you've just written your next paragraph, and I've got another example here to help you. Now, I said that I was going to write about my picture in the next paragraph, so that's what I've tried to do here. And again, this is an example. It's not perfect, okay, but I'm sure what you've written is really fantastic, but this will just give you a few ideas of maybe some things that you can add in. So, one of my favourite places to walk in Totnes is along the River Dart. There are lots of signs of spring here, including birds, flowers and leafy green oak trees. Did you know the river's name is said to mean river where oak trees grow? My dad said that there are lots of places you can go swimming in the river. Hopefully after lockdown we can do this. In this letter you'll find a picture of the river and the Totnes Bridge. I tried really hard to shade my picture to show that the sunshine was shining down onto the bridge and the water. I wanted you to feel calm and hopeful, just like I do when I visit here, when you look at the picture. Okay, so as you can see, I've tried in this paragraph to write about my picture. I've tried to use a dash. Okay, so I've tried to use the success criteria from the model in my writing. I've made sure it's in the first person. I've made sure that I've varied my sentence starters, but I still think there's a bit more I can do here. So I'm going to use cups first of all to help me edit. So let's start with capital letters then. One of my favourite places to walk in Totnes. Now I know Totnes is a place name, it's a proper noun, so it needs a capital letter. Oh look, and so does River Dart. Okay, so one of my favourite places to walk in Totnes is along the River Dart. There are lots of signs of spring here, including birds, flowers and leafy green oak trees. Did you know the river's name is said to mean river where oak trees grow? Remember, I'm looking for those capital letters. Now I'm going to give Dad a capital letter because I'm talking about my specific dad, and therefore it becomes a proper noun. There are lots of places you can go swimming in the river. Hopefully after, I've spotted an error there, but I'm going to ignore it at the moment. Full stop, capital letter. Let's keep going. Oh, here we are. Look, Totnes Bridge. Okay. Full stop, capital letter. So that's correct. Keep going. For calm. Brilliant. I think that's all my capital letters. So now I've got to check that it makes sense. Now, of course, you'll read yours again at home, but just so you're not sitting listening to me, I know that I can cross that one off, that it does make sense to my reader. But you need to check that carefully in your own writing, Year 5 and 6. Don't just cross it off like I have. I'm just trying to be quick because I'm doing a video. So punctuation is next. So that means things like question marks, commas. Let's have a little look. Apostrophes as well. That's one that we always seem to find tricky. One of my favourite places to walk in Totnes is along the River Dart. There are lots of signs of spring here, including, here we go, keep going. Did you know? So that's got a question mark. Hopefully in this letter, that should be a comma. I've magpied that fronted adverbial from my example letter. So in this letter, comma, now you will, that's a contraction. So that also needs apostrophe. You'll find a picture of the river, and I tried really hard to shade my picture and show that the sunshine was shining down the bridge and the water. I want you to feel calm and hopeful, just like I do when I visit here. When you look at... Okay, brilliant. So I'm reasonably happy my punctuation is okay. Spelling. Again, I'd go through really carefully and check my spelling. I'm going to leave that to you, year 5 and 6. And the last thing I'm going to think about is my vocabulary. So is there any words or phrases here that I could improve? Now, again, I noticed some of my sentences are starting with my and I again. So let's see if I could edit this last sentence perhaps. I wanted you to feel calm and hopeful, just like I do when I visit here, when you look at the picture. I'm going to try and put, when you look at the picture, I'm going to move that to the start of my sentence actually. So when you look at the picture, comma, because that's a subordinate clause. When you look at the picture, I'm going to say, I hope you feel calm. I hope you feel calm, just like I do when I visit here, full stop. Okay, so that's just edited the sentence slightly, so I'm not always repeating I. So now it's your turn then, year 5 and 6, to edit your next paragraph using cups, using the success criteria to help you. So making sure it's in the first person, doing your best to include some of these writing techniques, borrowing any words or phrases from here that you want to, using your planning to help you. So on to the next paragraph then, please, year 5 and 6. And then when you're ready, come back for the final little part of today's video. Well, welcome back, year 5 and 6. So hopefully your book's looking a little bit like this. You've got the title and the date at the top, and then your paragraphs that you've drafted and edited using cups. You might have gone on to the right hand side page, and that's okay. But underneath, wherever you've got up to, we're going to be doing our thinking column next. So this title might go at the top of your page here. It might need to go halfway down because you've been writing your paragraph here, and that's okay. Okay, so our title is thinking column, and we've got today's date as well. Underline with your coloured pen and a ruler, please. Okay, pause the video now then to do your date and title. Okay, so we've got a quick thinking column question for today, just the one. So I know we've done a lot of writing today already. So our question is, how will your letter spread hope to your reader? Okay, so a few sentences that you could use to help you get started. My letter will spread hope because, or I think my letter will make my reader feel hopeful because, or I have talked about to spread hope. So if I was going to answer this question, I'd have a little look back at my letter and I'd think, right, what have I included that's going to give hope to my reader? Well, I talked about the sunshine and warmer days. I talked about things that I was looking forward to and the Prime Minister's roadmap. I also talked about my favourite place in Top S. All those things I think will spread hope to my reader. Okay, year 5 and 6. So it's your turn now to, underneath your thinking column title, have a go at answering this question. Do your very best, and Mrs. PA and I look forward to seeing your thinking column and your letter today. So when you've finished your answer, don't forget to share your work on Class Dojo. And Mrs. PA and I can't wait to see how you've got on. Have a fabulous day, everybody, and I'll see you very soon.